Welcome back, everyone, to another episode of the PW Fan, the ultimate pro wrestling podcast created by fans for the fans. This is episode 143. I'm your host, collector, barber, musician, and most importantly, a professional wrestling podcaster, Talk Wrestling, Tim Gilbert.
And I'm your host, the architect of pro wrestling podcast, Booker Andy.
And the no-selling indie wrestling fan, Jeremy, will be on shortly to
and
discuss...
football lover.
And football lover. He will be on shortly to discuss some of the week's happenings in wrestling with us. He just had to take care of a couple things. But Andy, let me pass it over to you, man. Let's get into what we're going to talk about today, and you and I will start it off before Jeremy gets here. Just want to say before we get started on the show this week, go to youtube.com/the PW Fan Pod so you can like, subscribe, comment, engage with us. That really helps us out. Gets us on the YouTube homepage and people's recommended pages. And for all other social media, just look up at the PW Fan for t-shirts, prowrestlingtees.com/the PW Fan Pod. All right, Andy, what do we got going on today?
So for episode 143 today, we are going to be talking about mainly All In. That's the bulk of the show. That's what I'm going to try to get to. We're also going to, last week we started doing Bash at Berlin predictions because I was thinking that it was this past weekend, but no, All In was this past weekend and Bash at Berlin is this coming weekend. Also, I want to say, when we were talking about Bash at Berlin, we were talking about CM Punk and Drew in a strap match, and we were like, yeah, we hate like four corners
matches. That's what we're...
That is a strap.
What we hated last week, we had to correct ourselves and say what we hate is what's unfortunately happening. But if there's two guys that I trust to pull this off and make it good, my good young chap, I believe it's going to be CM Punk and Drew McIntyre.
But before we get into anything, it might have not crossed your mind, Tim. Today is the first episode of year 4.
It's crazy, man. That
time's a flying. Time's a flying.
There's a kid who started listening to us hypothetically, but there's a kid.
This is always your comparison, but go on.
Yeah, but there's a kid who started listening to us in freshman year of high school, who is now going into senior year.
Some freshmen, some 14-year-old found our podcast, and
if there is that person, and I just think when you're an adult, I mean, I'm 34. 4 years is nothing. From 30 to 34, I feel like flew by so fast. You know, we started the pod when I had just turned 30. So it's, or a little bit after. So it's like crazy how fast has flown by. But yeah, man, when you're younger, 4 years feels like a long time. And I can't believe how long we've been doing this. It's crazy.
So
we ain't stopping.
To talk all together.
Speaking of which,
what's going on with year 4.
Yes. So speaking of which, talking about year 4, couple things. We are definitely due for new merch designs, which we totally understand. We are a little out of date with some of our stuff. We got the year 1 and year 2 shirts up there. We never made a year 3 shirt, which I can work on. That's no problem. But Dan Burton, our designer, who has made everything for the PW Fan, the Booker Andy shirts, the logo, pretty much everything that we use. He has a hanging aortic aneurysm, and he has to get open heart surgery. So we just wanted to send our love, prayers, and best wishes to our buddy. Thank you for all you've done for the pod. We really appreciate it. And while he is down, he said he's going to be recovering for 8 to 12 weeks after the surgery. He says he would be open to, while he's bored, to make some new pod stuff. So get some new designs going. He'll be chilling at home. But Dan, we love you. You're going to be just fine, buddy. We're thinking of you.
Well, to continue on with the serious stuff, Psycho Sid, Sid Vicious, passed away. I want to say yesterday.
Yeah, it's very sad. Yeah, it sucks. I saw a picture of him hanging out with his grandkids recently. That made it even more sad.
He passed away at the age of, I want to say, 63 from cancer. Now, Tim, you're the old school wrestling fan, so you want to just talk about contributions, what he's done, if people out there don't really know old school wrestling.
So Sid I'm shooting
WWE, by
from.
the way, on Raw had a really nice video package this past week.
Yeah, I don't have anything. I don't have anything pulled up here right now. Like I don't have his
He's been
Wikipedia.
champ.
Yeah, he's been champ. He's done a lot of big things. He went by Sid Vicious. He went by Sid Vicious. Or sorry, he went by Sid Justice, Sid Vicious, and Psycho Sid. He's going by all three of those monikers. I'm shooting from the hip here. I'm pulling all this out of my ass. So if I get a couple things wrong or forget some
Short
stuff,
stint in the Four Horsemen as an
yeah.
enforcer.
Shorts in the Four Horsemen, feuded with Hogan, had a WrestleMania match with
Diesel,
Hogan.
Taker, definitely.
Yeah, and then he was a WCW World Heavyweight Champion. He had a good feud with Shawn Michaels in the mid '90s for the. He won the belt from Shawn, I believe. And there's like a notorious match where Shawn's the babyface, but kind of like with the Rock and Brock at SummerSlam '02, the crowd and Brett and Steve Austin at WrestleMania, the crowd shifts. They turn on Shawn during the match and they start cheering Sid. Zack Ryder tells a
Don't
funny
forget, he
story.
was
Zack Ryder tells a funny story that he was at that match, and he's like, "I was there. I had my Heartbreak Kid leather gloves on and my little leather Heartbreak Kid hat. And by the end, I was booing the Heartbreak Kid and cheering Sid."
Well, don't forget, he was also tapped out by Sal Bandini in Ready to Rumble.
Yes,
Him and Perry
he did.
Saturn.
He did have that. Yeah, I hate to include that in his. But father, grandfather, funny guy. He used to be on Scott Hall's like old YouTube channel all the time, and they'd make me laugh. Like they'd just be like drinking beers, joking around. And also, and I know we're being totally ADD brain. We're all over the place with poor Sid here, but he is also a avid softball lover to the point where he even at one point was choosing playing softball over showing up at work for Raw. So that's
crazy. That's wild. Okay.
and I believe he was a tradesman. I believe he was a tradesman. He was like a chemical. He like did some sort of like chemical or like I don't know if he
Jamie,
like
pull it up.
Jamie pull it up, but he had like a business outside of wrestling, so he didn't really need wrestling. Like wrestling, it was just something that he did because he liked. But yeah, he was a man of many trades and did a lot of stuff, and he had some great runs. He's a big guy in shape, runs against Hogan, Shawn, winning titles in WCW and WWF. I mean, he obviously deserves his props, and he was an athletic big man. So props to Psycho Sid, Sid Vicious, Sid Justice, whatever you want to refer to him as. Who's the man? You're the man. Who's the man? That's what he remember Andy on his entrance. He'd walk down, he'd say, "Who's the man?" And everybody'd say, "You're the man."
It's funny, on his Wikipedia it does mention that he played softball.
Yes. Avid dude, I'm telling you, his love of softball is legendary.
It says he was a fan of softball, which he briefly played during his time off from wrestling between 97 and 99. Interesting. So rest in peace, Psycho Sid. But let's get into. I'm starting with AEW this week, but then we'll end with All In. Dynamite. AEW this week was all go home stuff. It's gonna be brief, as a heads up. Dynamite. Mercedes Moné and Britt Baker had a contract signing, which, as you would expect, did not go as planned. Neither does any contract signing ever. Then I think the best segment though from Dynamite this week was MJF and Will Ospreay. They had about, I want to say, a 21-minute maybe segment. Just getting ready, for their match coming up at All In, which I can't wait to get into, by the way. But I want to see if I can find it really quick without saying a million times. So Ospreay would say Sunday is about cleaning up the mess that MJF has made here. MJF would say, I'm just going to read a bunch of quotes. I know you people aren't very bright, and I suppose you aren't either. Will, you cleaned up my mess. Jam-packed arenas chanted my name twice as loud as they ever have yours. Unlike you, I didn't have to be a cute little flip merchant to get the job done.
Mm.
He would also say, every metric imaginable, AEW was better off, not with a foreign freak from the UK on top, but with an American hero. He's really playing into this American hero gimmick. So I'm a bit confused. What mess are you referring to that I made, Will? Oh, I know. The mess wasn't made while I was here. The mess was made when I left. Because when I left, so did the fans. It was a really good segment. I mean, there's so much more.
Yeah, but like, why even bring attention to that? I'm with him. He's right. I was just talking to a
Will would
guy. I
say,
was just talking to a guy today. We were like, dude, like 900,000, to 500,000. That's a lot of people that left.
yeah. Oof. Osprey would say, we're all watching. We all heard about this renegade wrestling promotion that put wrestling first. And then we turned on the channel, and to see you as world champion, we all started giggling. The joke went on too long. You talk about people begging you to show up. Bruv, I wasn't even employed last year, and he got on the phone and called me. Between you and me, Tony Khan said, Will, please put on a good wrestling match because I can't rely on my world champ to do it.
Damn.
And then he said, "You've given everyone entertainment, but we're meant to be the alternative. This is not only about restoring the AEW International Championship, it's about restoring the feeling, and bruv, I am the feeling." To which MJF would reply, "Do you hear that, guys? He's the feeling. You know, Will, of all the trash that came out of your mouth, you got one thing right. I don't care about catering to these people. I only care about one thing. It's what Americans do best. We win." You know what's so sad, though? I actually believed Tony Khan when he told me when I was out injured that the company would be safe in your hands. Dude, who the hell are you? And it would go on and on. I mean, I'm not going to read through the entire promo, but it was a great promo. It was a long promo. It was a big, long segment, but definitely got me hyped for the match. But to end the show, we had a face-to-face with Danielson and Swerve, in which I believe Nigel McGuinness was out there to kind of moderate.
Swerve when I drive.
Let me see, but I'll just read the final quote by Danielson. So Swerve did bring in Danielson's family into all this, but one of the last things Danielson said, he said, maybe you're confused. Maybe a lot of people are confused because I don't come out here for 20 minutes every week and talk about myself. I know the truth. I know who I am. I know a lot of people say it, but this is the truth. You know it, and I know it. I'm the best wrestler in the world, and I've been for the last 20 years. So you think you can say you're going to beat me in front of my daughter this Sunday at Wembley Stadium in front of the fans who have paid to see me for the last 25 years, for my peers who I've traveled the road with, and in front of my family, my wife, my son, my daughter. You said you're going to cripple me. You're going to have to damn near kill me because I am going to leave my soul in this ring. Yes. It was good stuff. Good stuff from Bryan Danielson. So that would wrap up Dynamite. Collision, the main thing I got out of it was that Pac and I guess not the entire Blackpool Combat Club, but Pac and Wheeler Yuta and Claudia, which seemed super randomly thrown together, they would qualify for the All In Trios title match, which we'll get to later. So besides All In, that's all I really have for AEW's televised shows this week. You got anything to add before we get into Raw?
No, I was excited. I mean, I thought this, for the most part, especially I did think the MJF and Osprey thing went on a little long, but it did get me excited for the match. And at this point of the week, I was just excited for the pay-per-view. And Jeremy's back. Perfect timing.
Hey.
Yes. All right, well, let's get right into Raw then. Now that Jeremy's here, we just finished.
Are you guys talking about Raw? Can't wait to talk about it.
I can't wait to talk about Raw.
So we just talked about Dynamite Collision. Let's get into Raw. Randy Orton would open up the show, and he would end up having this promo segment with Gunther, which would end with Gunther and Ludwig Kaiser attacking Randy Orton and getting the best of him. After that, we had a really good match. It was, I'd say it should have waited for a pay-per-view at some point, but Sheamus versus Pete Dunne. Sheamus would defeat Dunne in the end. And then, if y'all remember, because I know it was a week ago, it's the only problem, is that CM Punk had a promo segment where we got to find out what the match between him and Drew was going to be at Bash in Berlin. So he made his way out there with a leather strap, and he revealed to all of us that he would have a strap match with Drew McIntyre at Bash in Berlin. Drew would taunt Punk by saying his wife and dog are happier at home with him than with Punk. This is in reference to him holding onto the bracelet, I believe, still. Couple quotes, though. I know that Tim liked this one. I'm sure Jeremy did too, though. I forget what was said right before, but he said, "I'm Taylor Swift for men." I know Tim reposted it.
Let's face it. I'm Taylor Swift for men. I've been making that joke for a while. I'm glad. I'm not saying it's mine. I'm not saying it's mine. I'm just saying it's getting.
Tim's like, I'm finally glad Punk heard what I'm saying.
It took him 6 months of it getting passed down the pipeline, but it finally happened.
Punk would also say, "I want this strap match so I can whip this bitch." And Drew would end up saying, "I have a question. I'm 100% serious. Have you started drinking?" In the end, though, I do believe would Punk end up whipping him or no? Not this time.
Not this time, I don't think.
The week before, he whipped him with a belt.
Yeah, with a belt.
Okay.
Which was like foreshadowing then.
Yeah, and that's when I think backstage he was like, "I think I got an idea for what."
Yeah.
The Judgment Day will lay out. Oh, go on.
Real quick, just to, I don't know if you guys talked about it or not, but to correct what we said last time, this is the match where they touched all four corners.
I mentioned it.
Okay. I was like,
yes, I did the correction.
We beat ourselves up pretty good over it.
And I also apologize for botched Bastion Berlin predictions.
Yeah.
We did say though that we believed that if there are going to be two people that can at least make this match cool, hopefully Punk and Drew can pull it off.
Yeah.
Agreed. Okay, Judgment Day would lay out. I'll just call him the new Judgment Day, not to be confused. Judgment Day would lay out though Rhea and Damian Priest before Priest's scheduled match against Dominic, which didn't even happen because of the attack. An Intercontinental Championship tournament was announced to determine their next challenger. We'll talk about that next week because it started last night. And then in the main event, Randy Orton would defeat Ludwig Kaiser. Anything to add to Raw before I talk about SmackDown? Then we'll get into the predictions.
I thought it was another decent Raw. They've been on a good roll of like, it's not like mind blowing or anything, but every Raw, even the one that we'll talk about next week that I watched last night.
Yeah.
Well, that was a good one too.
They all have like story driven segments. Like every single segment has a purpose to it. Doesn't just feel like a match thrown out there now.
Dude, I love him to death. He's a very nice guy, but I cut this guy today that was like, I don't know, man. I'm not when I say cut, people, in case anybody doesn't know, my job outside my job outside of the podcast is I'm a barber. But I was cutting this guy's hair today, and a lot of my clients like wrestling, and that's why they come to me. And they were like, one of them was like, I don't know, man. Like, I don't know how I feel about Triple H's booking it. And I was like, well, what the hell? Would you rather go back to what we had before?
I know, Vince.
Yeah, are you saying it's not an improvement?
I'm like, dude, I mean, even if it's not perfect, it's better than what we had.
Yeah. Like no one's gonna be perfect anyways, but like I see like it's funny because like do you notice like someone like Bobby Lashley has been
he's left. We never talked about that. He left WWE.
Yeah, and he had a huge like change when Triple H took over. He was a big like Vince loved him because of how like obviously he was big.
He's big.
Yeah. Then Triple H is like, all right, we don't really need that as much.
He's big,
dude. There is an alternate universe out there where Vince kept booking and Triple H never took over.
I like to think that there's an alternate split. I like to think there's an alternate universe where Black and Gold NXT still exist and is killing it.
I wish it was still there.
and it doing the monthly takeovers in its original form, just crushing.
The takeovers were so good.
Best pay-per-views ever monthly. I was like,
Yeah.
me and Andy would be genuinely excited. We'd be like, all right, SummerSlam's going to be all right, but dude, takeover?
Yeah.
We'd be like,
you would like look forward to the Friday or Saturday before whatever the other pay-per-view was. It was crazy.
you know, you were going to
You
see
know, if that
some
was still
real
around, we'd
wrestling.
probably be covering it.
Yeah.
We'd probably be covering takeovers on the pod if Black and Gold.
That'd be crazy. But now it's like, I mean, it's not bad now with NXT. Like, I'm actually watching NXT right now, but like, they have No Mercy on Sunday. But like, I don't feel it's not the same as the Black and Gold.
It feels like, and they're gone now, so it doesn't matter. But it feels like Vince changed NXT because he was jelly
Like, so much.
They're talented though. If you watch, like, I think
they are.
pay-per-view was like 5 stars.
Yeah,
I mean, it is, but
it's the presentation. They need to go back to how
Yeah.
it was. Like, but one of the things that now that he's gone, I guess we can say it doesn't really matter. Dude, that's like such a scumbag move to think about. Like, your son-in-law almost dies of a heart attack, right? Like, legit, like scary, like literally almost dead.
yeah.
And while he's gone, you decide, let me take his let me take his creation and fuck with it. I'm like, dude, who
Change
does,
every part of
I'm
it.
like, dude, who does that? That is crazy.
Yeah. I mean, Vince is the person who does that because he does a lot of other things that we're not going to say, Andy.
Yes, we're not talking about it. We don't need any more bleeping on this show.
Yeah.
I also want an alternate timeline of Eddie Guerrero not passing away.
Oh, Eddie Guerrero.
Oh, yeah.
When Eddie's still alive.
Now the Hogan biopic's not happening anymore, but there's a picture going around. Tim posted it. Someone casting Pedro Pascal in an Eddie Guerrero biopic.
It says,
He looks just like him.
It says, give us the wrestling bio that we deserve. I'm like, don't even tease me.
Yeah.
I'm like, don't.
That'd be amazing.
They just cast Dom with his fucking mustache.
His Dom.
Um,
That'd be crazy. I would love that.
All right, let's get into SmackDown. SmackDown opened up with the Grayson Waller effect with Cody Rhodes, who has an upcoming match this weekend with Kevin Owens, who right now is Cody's friend. Grayson and Austin Theory would end up playing a video of basically a montage of Kevin Owens' betrayals, and they actually show Jericho, which would not be done in the Vince era, I'd say.
No,
But
it would have been cut out.
Triple H,
They're not pretending that
I
stuff didn't
realized-
happen.
yeah, they don't treat us like idiots now that Triple H. They're just like,
And they understand there's a
People
world
know-
outside of WWE too. Like, people exist.
like they used to say, like if someone went away to AEW or something and they came back, they'd be like, they haven't wrestled in 5 years. Like,
Yeah. They're like, what? They haven't been around forever. I'm like, they were at a show
I think
last
they did
weekend.
that with Cody. I think they said that with Cody. Like he hasn't wrestled in however long he was gone for.
Yeah. And I'm like, he
That's
just
so
he
crazy.
started a whole company, guys.
Yeah, like
You know what I always
don't
thought
treat us
was
like we're idiots.
I always thought that was ironic because the whole reason that Vince even wanted Cody back and wanted to make Cody a top guy is because of his character that he made in Ring of Honor and AEW. Like,
That's what he
It's-
the quote.
but then
is like,
but then also
"They didn't
wants
want
to
change
make it
anything,
seem
that's
like
what they're buying.
right. That's
yeah.
what they're buying. But then when he came back, they're like,
Well, yeah.
Vince wanted to make it seem like I created this. Like, this is my.
Yeah, he's like,
thing.
it's my guy.
Yeah, it's like okay.
Do you remember years ago? I was thinking about this recently when Vince came out. And he's like, basically apologized to the fans, like, "We're gonna give you less of what you don't want." more
Oh,
than
yeah,
you
yeah.
do."
It was the
And
whole
nothing
McMahon family.
changed.
Yeah.
Nothing changed.
Yeah, that was
People like
crazy.
Stephanie and Shane came out too.
Dude, I saw this crazy Vince clip today, and as a believer, I'm not gonna lie, this clip is like so rough to like listen to, or like so rough to watch. But it's him going into the church, and he puts his hands in the holy water, and he's like, "What do? You wash this off in here?" And Shane's like, "What the hell's the matter?" Shane's like, "What the hell's the matter with you?" And then he's like, "What?" He's like, "What are you supposed to do with it?" And then he goes, "Hey Shane, watch this." And then he like slurps the holy
Is this
water in
during
his
the Shawn
mouth.
Michaels feud?
Yeah, and he does the
Oh my
triple.
God.
He does the Triple H spit in the church. And I'm
No
like,
disrespect.
this was me today watching it. I was like,
Well, the other week we talked about the JBL stuff. So
man.
Yeah.
every week
Dude,
we're
there's
just gonna talk about messed up things.
bad wrestling segments from years past. There's a couple.
Yeah. We said that JBL showed up in GCW, right?
Yeah, I saw that.
Yeah.
He's doing. He did AAA or CMLL?
Yeah. Now he's doing GCW. He's just doing side quests.
Dude, yeah, that's what it was. Side quest.
Yeah.
Do you remember when I do love this because I'm not even sure like Shane was like fully joking here when when Vince is like, strike me down, God, strike me down, and then all of a sudden Shane like takes like 2 steps to the left. He's like,
Yeah.
he's like screw this. He's like, dude, screw this. I'm moving over.
But to continue on with SmackDown, as I got to steer the show, LA Knight would retain against Santos Escobar, who had recently earned a title shot. The Bloodline would retain against the Street Profits. There was no OTC on the show this week after being put through the table. And then Kevin Owens and Cody Rhodes would team up to defeat A-Town Down Under. And at the end, Kevin Owens is holding Cody's belt. Cody's back is turned towards him, and he starts running towards him like he's going to hit him in the back of the head. But when Cody turns around, KO just he keeps the momentum of like running forward, but just hands it to him because he holds it like he runs, and then hands it to him, and just exits the ring. So,
the thing that I meant to say at the opening segment when it was ending, and Cody and KO were standing in the ring, and Cody's music was playing, and KO, you can hear KO on the camera mic where he's like, "They don't have adrenaline in their soul."
Yeah. Talking about Grayson Waller and Austin Theory.
It's like he's never serious.
So that wraps up all the main shows. Let's get into the official Bash at Berlin predictions. All right.
Let's go. Let's see if they match last week's.
The actual ones.
Yeah. So there's 5 matches as of now. 5.
Andy, you are Jeremy. Andy's coming over. If you want to, just like always, please come.
Oh yeah, it's Saturday pay-per-view, right?
Yeah, we'll be there. So let me know if you want to come over again.
Yeah, I mean that kind of.
Don't spoil it for yourself.
If we avoid spoilers, it'll be fine.
Yeah, well, maybe I forgot that on Saturday I'm actually getting a kitten.
Oh yeah,
a new kitten.
Yes,
I'm gonna name her Pixel. So yeah, I'll have to let you guys know.
That's amazing. Andy's the last to get a cat, but I already know what's going to happen in his future. Dad has one.
Andy. I
have one. Jeremy has one. You can't escape. You can't escape. It's like he's picking up the wiener dog. He's like, nah, I'm good.
Yeah.
This is enough. Okay, Bash at Berlin. The Unholy Union, Apple Fire and Isla Dawn, are defending their women's tag titles against Jade Cargill and Bianca Belair. Now, keep in mind, they're in Europe. 2 ladies that are champs are European.
Yeah, I'm gonna go with them, is what you're saying?
I don't know. I'm like, do they win? And then I'm trying to predict the whole thing. So I'm going Unholy Union, and then Jade or Bianca. Bianca needs to turn heel.
Yeah, I think. Do you think this is the time though, or do they do it at a bigger pay-per-view? Because this is. What's the next one after this?
Bad Blood.
I mean, it could make sense then if she turns and then they have a match then because it's Bad Blood.
I'm going Unholy Union.
I'm going with them anyways.
By the way, they're starting to have a better run.
So I'm going with them anyways, even without a turn. But I hope that Bianca is the one who turns.
Tim?
I agree with both of you, but I really want Bianca, like Jeremy was saying, to be the one who turns because I don't know. I don't know if Jade without a manager and
we've seen Jade as a heel.
She needs to, but she needs to be the baby face right now.
Bring back Smart Mark Sterling to be her manager in WWE. Wasn't that her manager in WWE?
Do you think that would work in WWE though?
I think Mark could. I just maybe not with Jade.
Oh yeah, I forgot Tim's friends with them.
Friends is a strong word. I've cut his hair. I like his podcast. I don't want him to think I'm like some like weirdo guy. That's like
You're like a stalker.
yeah.
We are
It's like, dude, we are friends. It's like, no, we're not, bro. It's like, it's fine, and that's okay. That's okay. I want to be your
I
friend.
cut your hair. We're friends.
If the opportunity came where I could be your friend, it's not like I wouldn't want to.
So are we all agreeing Unholy Union retains?
Yeah.
All right. I think we're all in agreement on this next match too. CM Punk versus Drew in a strap match. Last week we all said CM Punk in order to get to a third match with them, the rubber match.
Yep.
Yes.
And then because the rumor plan is Hell in a Cell between them two, which will be crazy.
Yeah, that should main event Bad Blood, right? Like,
dude,
I know they usually do titles, but like, yeah,
it should just be whatever the best storyline going on in.
I want a silver Hell in a Cell. Not red.
Yes.
Not fucking purple.
I hate red.
Not like whatever weird shit that they put in there, and it's all the kendo sticks are purple and the tables are red. I hate it.
Was Balor and Edge purple?
It was. I don't know. It was just terrible. That's what it was. It was all bad.
They made the standard was almost like the red cage for a while, and I was like, I hate this so much,
dude. It's offensive to the eyes. First of all, the red is like
you can't see.
The red is so harsh. It's like
yeah. And for someone like Vince, who is all about the perception and the visual, I'm surprised that he saw that and was like, yeah, let's go with that.
He did the same thing with the Punjabi prison was a stinker too. You couldn't see anything.
Yeah. He did that 3 times.
Hell in a Cell hasn't been done since Balor and Edge, and it was a regular Hell in a Cell.
I swear I remember it being red or some shit. There's no.
I don't think it was.
I'm looking at pictures. Google.
No,
I don't remember that at all.
I swear, dude. I swear, there's
Andy is gaslighting us right now.
This is one of those.
Google it.
This is. Is this some like Mandela effect shit? Like, I swear.
Yeah, the butterfly effect.
I don't know, guys. All right, Damian Priest and Rhea versus Liv Morgan and Dominic. I think everyone said Liv and Dom.
By the way, speaking of the speaking of the Mandela effect, I'm pretty sure JBL did not have a lasso in that segment, but for some reason, you and I both remembered him swinging a lasso, catching people.
Are you sure?
He definitely roped some people.
I don't know.
Are you sure he wasn't like going like this?
He's like, "You get out of here, boy."
Go back to Mexico.
Dude,
that's Mexican family.
Dude, he said it like 20 times in like 10 seconds. It was crazy.
I know.
All right, who you guys got for the mixed tag match?
Mixed match?
Mixed match.
Yeah, Priest and Rhea.
Oh, you got Priest and Rhea. Okay, I thought you guys had said last week Liv and Dom, but all right.
No, because I thought they won last time, so that's why I was like, they gotta have the other ones win.
Rhea. They haven't had Yeah, okay.
Yeah, they need to do the match where, I mean, I guess they could push it one more where it wouldn't be ridiculous. But
I think Bad Blood, we're getting Finn versus Damian.
That's true. So, like, Liv and Dom win because of Finn.
So, Finn versus Damian, and then what do you think we'll get Rhea versus...
Probably a rematch of Rhea and Liv.
Rhea and Liv.
With Dom and Liv's corner.
But with some stipulation.
With Dom hanging from a shark cage.
Yeah. Oh, God. Dominic on a pole match.
Gunther versus Reem D. Orton.
Gunther.
Ooh.
Dude, Gunther's going to have a huge pop.
I was going to say the reaction. I can't wait for it.
It's going to be insane.
Yeah.
But Gunther's winning.
He's definitely winning,
yeah.
Tim, are you kidding me?
I'm going to go Gunther because of where they are.
All right.
And then the main event, Cody Rhodes versus Kevin Owens, undisputed WWE Championship. I think we're all in agreement with Cody Rhodes, but does KO turn?
I don't know if he turns, like, because how would he turn? Like, I guess be more heelish during the match?
Just attack Cody after the win?
I don't think he's going to do that, though, because that doesn't really do anything.
Tease?
Yeah, like, he can be, like, being a heel during the match, as in, like, cheating sort of thing, but I don't think
KO's been using the pop-up powerbomb again. He's like, you
I
want
love the
old
pop-up
KO?
powerbomb.
He's like, you want the old KO? And he's been doing the pop-up powerbomb
Yeah,
to like Austin Theory.
yeah. I don't think he like turns as in like heel after the match though.
All right, let's get Moment of Truth. All In. I'm excited. This was a really good pay-per-view.
Yeah,
I'd say one of the best AEW pay-per-views.
one of the best.
I'd also say better than last year's All In.
Mm-hmm.
Though,
Yeah, you
as
and me
Tim
were
told
texting.
Tim told me though last year's All In had a weird vibe because of what had happened backstage.
Oh yeah.
It felt. I remember even like Punk taking a
Something
really
was
long
off.
time on his entrance, being like, "What's going on?" It feels weird.
Yeah, he didn't come out for like a couple verses,
And then,
or not
like,
a couple verses. Like
the whole
yeah.
show felt kind of off. This one felt much better.
Well, also, last show was mainly about the Adam Cole MJF storyline, like because they had that tag match on the pre-show and then also the main event.
Yep.
I thought just the booking was also just, but I mean everything to me.
Oh yeah, and also like leading up to this, like I know you guys talked about like Dynamite and everything already, but I feel like those two shows, Dynamite and Collision, those were both better than anything they've done in recent months because they actually told stories of why you should care about these.
I mean, definitely Dynamite for sure.
Oh yeah, it's just more Dynamite. I should say, yeah.
So before we get into this year's All In, we mentioned last week All In next year is going to be in Texas, and Forbidden Door next year is going to be in London.
I'm curious to see how that does because, like London and UK fans definitely have more of a
they haven't said the
fan
venue.
base.
It's probably just going to be in a. They haven't said the venue for Forbidden.
Yeah, it's not going to be Wembley. I don't think it's not going to be Wembley.
It's a smart play on AEW's part to make London a regular destination because
I'm in the press conference. Tony said they're going to be coming there, trying to come there more often.
I mean,
well, they should do like a UK tour. Like I think Ospreay said it afterwards. He's like, they should do a UK tour because everyone loves them a lot more. I think over there.
That press conference.
Yeah, yeah, it was. Well, also like you see the crowd during the like Dynamite and Collision show in Wales. I think they were in.
Yes, they were in Wales for the.
It was so much better of a reaction and like turnout than their weekly shows here.
Agreed. All right, so I'm not going to go over the entire 0 hour, just the end. And the end was Saraya coming out with like her whole like friends and family from England.
No one cared actually. It was just
no one cared.
Was funny.
She just yelled at the fans about how she's not, they're not. I think they were like booing her for one, so she was mad at them, just playing her role.
Yeah, it's a heel.
She wasn't on the card.
She's like, "This is my house."
She did say that on the
like,
rant.
Literally my house.
She said, "This is my house." But Jamie Hayter's music would hit, so Jamie Hayter returned. I feel bad that it was during the 0 hour, but
yeah,
the few that they're going with is Saraya or something. Because wasn't it who took Jamie Hayter out?
I honestly forget. It was so long
Tony
ago.
and Saraya, I believe it was that.
I think it was because you know how long ago it was. It was before the last All In.
Mm-hmm. But big pop for her, and I was mistaken thinking they had a match. They did not have a match. Jamie Hayter just kind of took out Saraya, and no, Saraya escaped, I believe. She took out Harley. What the hell's her?
Quinn.
Her.
I always forget it.
Thanks for letting me out, Mr. J.
Okay.
Not that Harley.
Wrong Harley?
I actually was going to say, like, how many times are we going to say beans and toast on this podcast?
Beans and toast. I wouldn't have said it at all until you said it.
This match is crazy, bro. Beans and toast.
It's crazy. I don't like seasoning on my pig.
Dude, one time when one of Andy's childhood traumas I'll bring up live on the air is one time Andy brought up spotted dick from England, and my dad was, my dad was so mad. Yeah, it was Dad. He was so mad.
No, that's funny.
He didn't understand what Andy was talking about.
What's a sausage?
He's like
Yeah,
Andy was like 12. He kept saying spotted dick, and my dad was like, "Why do you keep saying that? Why do you keep saying that?" He was so pissed.
Like, what? It's a sausage.
And he's like, I remember Andy. He was like,
Wait.
Andy, why do you keep
You're like-
saying that? And you're like, it's not.
And he's like, not that kind of sausage.
It's not that.
Uncultured swine.
You uncultured American swine, you piece of shit, bro.
All right. Anyway, first match on the card was the London ladder match.
I combined American
ladder
slang
match.
with English. I was like, you piece of shit.
You did. It almost
ladder
turned
match.
southern.
For the AEW Trios Championship. It was the Patriarchy, Bang Bang Gang, House of Black, who had some sick face paint, and then
Yeah.
Pac and Wheeler, Yuta, and Claudio.
Oh, also, real quick, sorry, before we go all into it, I know they had only 54,000-ish people there this time compared to the 80,000 last time. But to me, like, I feel like AEW looked better having that bigger stage. Because it made, like, for some reason, it made them, I don't know why, but it made me feel like they're, like, there's a
Legit.
better production.
It was
for
like
them.
a weird. It was like an old Survivor Series entrance.
Yeah. It wasn't like that small one, which I know like WWE does that really well, but I feel like AEW needed to have like a bigger stage to make it feel bigger for them.
It did give it a bigger feel, though. You're right.
Yeah.
Have you ever thought about having beans on toast?
The winners I did not see coming were Pac and Wheeler and Claudio. Do you think they did this to give Pac his moment?
Well, you know why it was the BCC and him is because it was supposed to be Pac and Lucha Bros, but Lucha Bros I think are going to WWE soon.
NXT.
You think NXT?
Yeah. I'd say NXT. I'd say they're not as known for.
I think they need to go to NXT because they need some work to adjust to the American style. Or not the American
mean
style.
like the
the,
tags?
The average
the
audience
WWE
does
style.
not know them.
Yeah, you
That's
mean like
fucking
tagging
crazy.
into a match instead of just jumping in?
Yeah, tagging,
Yeah.
and then also a lot of
They
wrestlers.
didn't learn how to hold the strings.
A lot of wrestlers.
Yeah.
a lot of wrestlers in general say when you leave the indies and other places and go to WWE, the style is just different in general. The ring's bigger.
That's true.
Ropes are looser. You know, it's and they ask you to do
No more
different things.
cables.
Yeah, and that's the thing. You got to be careful with those aerial maneuvers. Cables are going to give you more of that
Tell that to Ray
That-
Phoenix, who injures himself
that
twice a year.
lift.
Yeah.
You know,
A couple times, I think.
ropes. Are
Also, like
loose and
we
janky.
saw a difference between someone who debuted here. I thought already from the 10 minutes we
We'll
saw
talk
him.
about it when we get to it. Any
if-
spots you remember from this match? Anything?
And if you
particular?
decide not to dine with the captain, you'll be dining with us, and you'll be naked.
Jeremy, anything you remember specifically from this match you'd like to talk about? Or thoughts on the match?
I thought it was a good opener. I always like having ladder matches as openers because they're very fast paced, especially with there's 4 teams in there or 3 teams. I mean, 4 teams. Yeah, 4 teams.
Bro, I just pulled that Pirates of the
God.
Caribbean line out of my ass, dude, from the depths.
That was a good, I knew exactly what you were talking
We're gonna
about.
ignore Tim. Keep going.
All right. I thought House of Black. I did feel like they should have won it, but
That's what I
I'm
was
curious. Yeah, I'm curious to see what they do with PAC and BCC now because PAC definitely fits their style and like their group, like I don't know what's it called, visual, I guess, whatever. I'll use that word. But yeah, the Bang Bang Gang. I don't think they're the same as without
Jay White.
Jay White. Yeah.
Team Shocker gang.
Next, we had Tony Storm versus Mariah May for the AEW Women's Championship. This match was fantastic.
It was a very good match. Yeah.
This match was awesome. New champion, Mariah May, who I think all of us predicted maybe.
Yeah, I
that
think
she would
so.
win. I was hoping she would win. But Timeless Tony Storm, her reign has finally come to an end of, I don't even know how long.
It felt like a year.
It was almost
I don't
a year,
know.
at least.
Yeah.
If it,
But
I mean,
the
Mariah won at the last All In, and then Tony beat her after. So
that's right. I thought the ending to this match was great too. It was like, it it flowed really well as well, like too, and then like the crowd was really into it. And also the cool thing was after the match, like the crowd was singing Tony Storm's name, kind of giving her like a ovation afterwards. I thought that was nice.
Yeah, that part was cool.
that-
I like that.
Yeah, and also just to point out again, UK crowds are so much better, or just European crowds are better than Americans.
Yeah, and they love Tony Storm because she's a pug, so they automatically have love for her from being the home.
Look, you almost made Andy knock over his mic when saying that.
Stupid, I hate it. Next match, there's a lot to talk about with this
That's a
match.
Conan. That's a Conan quote, not me. They'll get me canceled.
No. All right, I got a lot to say about this next match: Hook versus
Yeah.
Chris Jericho. All right. I liked one thing about it, maybe two. All right. Hook defeated Chris Jericho for the FTW Championship. That's one. And also, before Hook's music hit, you heard the beeping from Taz's entrance music with Hook's, which actually Hook said in the press conference was his idea to do that.
Yeah, I thought that was cool too.
Jericho came out singing with Fozzy. Are we going to have
Of course he
Fozzy
did.
at every All In every year?
That's why I texted you. I was like, of course he has to have Fozzy here.
Kill me, dude.
And you know what? It was awful again.
Kill me. This time he's not singing Judas. He was singing his song that's from the Learning Tree opener.
Yeah.
Also, Big Bill is so over in the UK, dude.
That's so random.
They loved Big Bill.
Why? Do you know why?
It was mentioned in the press conference too. Tony's like, sometimes you pivot and you listen to the fans. Just like someone asked about how popular Big Bill was in. Big Bill's the only good part, even I'll admit, of the Learning Tree.
I think so. Yeah, he's the only good part. He's like flourished in the Learning Tree.
It's awesome. I don't give a shit about the Learning Tree, but Big Bill is sick.
Yeah, exactly.
I like Big Bill.
Yeah.
You know what's
But
great
I did.
And I'm done being silly. What's great about Big Bill is he's like been through a lot, and it's really cool to see him like really find. Like, first of all, he's in fucking incredible shape compared to what he was when he was in his like dark times, and then he looks great.
Yeah, he was in the worst feud ever, in my opinion, in WWE.
Yeah.
With Daniel Bryan. It was terrible.
Yeah.
No, but just like when he was like going through his struggles and he had to go live with DDP and like get his life back on track from all the way to that.
He was going through like his alcoholism during that feud. That was the feud he got fired during. It was terrible. But he made it out on the other side as another sober man to a sober man. Happy for him.
Oh yeah.
But he could definitely be a star, man, if they just keep booking him right. And
I think
sometimes, thing is, sometimes as a fan, if you see how another crowd reacts to someone, it kind of like becomes infectious. And
it's
I feel
like
people
the
are
Randy
gonna
Orton
be,
theme. Like they sing Randy Orton's theme now because of the other crowd.
They're really singing his theme though. You saw him this past Friday.
Yeah.
I do like, and look, maybe we do got to give Chris Jericho some credit for this, but I am loving the last like 4 years where people sing along to the theme songs really fucking loud. I like it. It's cool. It makes the atmosphere.
Yeah, I love when
it makes the atmosphere really exciting.
Yeah. When crowds get involved, it always makes it better anyways.
After that, we had
Oh, well, I was going to say that I did like the ending actually with Taz and Hook both doing the what move is it called?
Taz Mission?
Is that it?
Or do they call it something
Taz's
else?
Finisher?
They call it. Well, yeah, they call it, I guess, something else. Yeah, but yeah, then Taz getting up and doing it to.
It's like it's like the something.
Did you do it to Brian Keith?
What is it? The something Hajime or something like that. Like it's like real. It has like some long ass name. But
it's always the Taz Mission to me, brother.
Yeah, just the Taz.
Yeah, but I thought that was cool though.
Up next, we had the three-way AEW World Tag Team Championship match: FTR, Young Bucks, and the Acclaimed. I believe that the Bucks it had like a Sgt. Pepper theme for their entrance, which the crowd did not react to.
They didn't care at all.
They did not give a shit, dude.
The FTR came out with like nothing, and they were like singing their theme song.
Mm-hmm.
Dude, no one. I'm sorry. The Young Bucks are like. I'm not going to mention any names on the podcast, but Andy and I were talking about a certain band person who basically thinks they're a lot more important than they are, and they treat people really badly. And I'm like, not saying that the Bucks treat people badly. I don't know them, and I don't know what they do behind the scenes. But like the Young Bucks to me are like the guys like they like think they're the shit, but like no one else is like really cares that much. They're just like, okay, whatever, dude. And like every time they
And
come out, the crowd is like basically telling them like, you're not as cool as you think you are. Like you think you're cool.
Yeah.
I feel
but,
like some people. Did anyone else hear them chanting CM Punk during the Bucks?
yeah.
Okay, okay. I thought so.
Also, I feel like the Bucks thing before was like they would do like these really good matches and high flying stuff and everything, and people would be like, ooh. And now I don't feel like they do that really as much. Maybe because they are older now, but like
Well,
they're
and
not entertaining.
But that's the other thing, and you know, and I'm going to be critical here, and I'm really critical of them, other than the CM Punk stuff. But I was a Young Bucks fan. I like the Young Bucks. I own the Young Bucks Bullet Club T-shirts. But this isn't 10 years ago. Like this is a different time now, and like you're not the same dudes that you were. And I feel like a lot of the time they're still riding off the days where those shirts were in Hot Topic, and it's like, dude, it's not like that anymore. It's over. Like,
Yeah,
you gotta
exactly. Yeah.
you gotta figure something else out, man.
Reinvent. Well, I guess they did with this EVP shit, but
It didn't work.
Yeah.
Though. It's bad.
I think someone else reinvented it in a pretty good way in a coffin match.
reinvented themselves in a good way.
Yeah.
We'll talk about that. But I did want to talk about one cool thing during this match. I guess technically two. Max Caster would join Matt Jackson for an EVP trigger, and he would also join Wheeler, Cash Wheeler, for a Shatter Machine. So it was kind of
Billy Gunn did a Famouser.
He did do a Famouser, yeah. But the Bucks would retain against FTR and the Acclaim. I can't wait to talk about this next match, the Casino Gauntlet match. A lot of fun stuff happened during it. So it was like a Rumble, but also it was first to pin.
Yeah. It was interesting, I thought.
So, order of entry, you ready? It went Orange Cassidy, Okada, and then ginormous pop, dude, for Nigel McGuinness. A returning Nigel McGuinness.
Everyone said he got kissed by, what's her face? Maria May. And that all of a sudden revived him from his career. He could wrestle in 2 hours.
Dude, so huge pop. Everyone was I mean, I was not expecting it. I thought he was gonna like be in the show some way with Danielson, but like I was not expecting this. I thought he looked great. I thought he was in good shape.
He was a little like, I feel like he was a little rusty, but that's just normal because it's been years.
It felt like Edge when he came into the Rumble.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, exactly.
But, so that was really exciting.
I was really happy.
His style was so different too.
I was really happy for him, and I'm just gonna like make this selfish for a second, but I've told the story on the pod before. But when I got to a point originally when I realized in my early 20s that the band thing wasn't gonna be a thing, like I'm not gonna make money doing this. I got to get a job. We're not gonna go on the big America tour and tour full time. Like I got to figure out what to do. And I remember watching that documentary where he couldn't wrestle anymore, and him being like, I don't know what else to do. All I've ever done my whole life is wrestle, and I love wrestling. And I remember being like, dude, that's exactly how I feel about music. You put all your eggs in your basket, and sometimes it doesn't work out. And it's and like, that's the thing. Sometimes like people always talk about the success stories, but his biography was more of like, this is the other side of it, where sometimes you do all the right things and it doesn't work out. And I love that documentary so much. So to, you know, now that I'm back playing shows for fun, but then to see him come back and wrestle when I felt so connected to that documentary, I just thought it was a really cool thing. I was really happy for him. So when Andy texted me and said somebody came back, I didn't know who it was going to be, but yeah, I thought that was really cool.
Holy shit, man.
I know.
Yeah,
I did not expect it.
Do you think he wrestles again?
I think so. He looked really good, didn't he?
Yeah, I think here and there. Why not? It doesn't. What's it hurt?
Yeah.
It's cool. It's fun.
Yeah.
So then after Nigel would go Kyle O'Reilly, then Zack Sabre Jr., who was coming off his win on the G1 Climax. We got a little standoff and a little wrestling going on with Nigel and Zack, which is like two different eras of British wrestling. It was really cool to see that. Then we had Roderick Strong, Mark Briscoe, Hangman Page, who I think we predicted was going to win it.
Thought he was going to win.
He did not. After Hangman, it was Jeff Jarrett, who good on the crowd there because they gave him a massive pop, which shows that they still super respect everything that he does and has done, I should say. We had the rumored debut of Ricochet, who Jeremy was talking about. I think someone said he's done more flips.
That's what I texted you.
Yeah, in his match than he has in the past year or something in WWE.
Yeah, he did I don't know how many flips and jumps and everything. I was like, I don't remember this in the last year of WWE.
The crowd was excited for him. How do you feel about the pants instead of the tights? I like the tights.
I do like the tights. The pants were a little loose, I think, is what I was like. They look kind of weird on him.
I'm not.
And also
baggy,
for a high flyer, I feel like, don't they not wear baggy stuff then?
I'm not a baggy man. Anytime the dudes make the switch over to the baggy, I'm like, eh. Like when Sean, I remember when Sean started wearing the baggy cowboy thing, I was like, ah. It took me it took me a long time to get used to that, and I didn't like it for a while.
We'll be playing 2K, and Tim's like, "Oh, but he's wearing the baggy pants."
yeah.
It's the wrong era.
I want the classic Sean with the tights. But yeah, the baggy's always a weird thing.
He wants
right?
Sean in his last run, but wearing tights. And
yeah.
Well,
because that era did exist from 02 to 05, and then I believe what happened was when he got the knee surgery, he started wearing the knee braces, and he wore the baggy pants because it covered the braces, so he didn't wear them on the outside like Austin. Which I'm like, all right, I get it, but I'm like, man, I just thought the other looked better, but whatever.
Glad you're kidding. So after Ricochet, who by the way, he needs to be a heel. He needs to do something. He can't be the same smiling babyface as he was in WWE. But we'll see. We'll see. I'll give them time. After Ricochet, we had Christian Cage and Luchasaurus. After Christian Cage, Christian would win. He didn't have to do anything.
He was hobbling to the ring.
Win it for him.
Yeah.
Oh, he wasn't he about to? It seemed like he was going to chokeslam Christian, but instead he chokeslammed someone else, and then Christian got the win. So Christian, they are treating it like a Money in the Bank contract. He can cash it in kind of whenever.
Yeah, that's what we were saying. We were texting actually. We were like the thing you said that Luchasaurus is probably going to turn on him when he does cash it in.
He better, or you cost him the cash in. Yeah.
Yeah, cost him. Yeah.
Okay, so I might pass this over to Tim because he's watched it last night, so it's fresh in his mind. MJF versus Will Ospreay for MJF's AEW American Championship. Entrance-wise, MJF sported a Made in the USA Lex Luger-inspired tights.
That hat killed me.
Yeah, I mean, he's going full American hero. Worse than Hogan ever did. And then Will Ospreay had an Assassin's Creed-inspired entrance based off the new game, which is a big fan of Assassin's Creed.
I thought that was pretty cool. I do like the Assassin's Creed games too, so I thought that was really
Anything
cool.
to add to the entrance stuff before we get into the match itself?
The Ospreay chants were crazy when they're in the song.
Yes. Yeah.
And the overall pop for him, I was like, whew.
Hometown Boy, Tim will talk about it. There was a part in the match that took me out of it, as well as Tim. Halted the momentum a little bit.
Basically,
talk about the match before that point.
But I mean, I don't really have much to say about the match other than I was texting you and said, this match is incredible. This was one of my more favorite recent matches, literally right up until the end. And when when it happened.
The momentum shifted.
So when the guy jumps up on the apron with the hood and pulls
Masked
it off,
man jumps up.
and it's Ricky Starks.
Oh, yeah.
I just was
No,
like,
Daniel
No.
Garcia.
Daniel
oh,
Garcia.
sorry,
Garcia.
said not Ricky Starks. Yeah, my bad. Daniel Garcia.
I don't even know what's going on with Ricky Starks nowadays, but
I think he's
go on.
gone.
Daniel Garcia, and he like pulls the hood off. I'm like, okay. But literally up until that point, I had just texted Andy like a second before that, being like, God, this match is so good. And then all of a sudden,
damn, that really took me out of it.
and then like, yeah, and then like 5 minutes later, I'm like, wow, that really took me out of it. I don't know. I just wish that they had finished it clean, but I guess they were trying to protect everybody's character.
Yeah.
You know.
So MJF took out Daniel Garcia, tried to quote unquote end his career. The distraction from Garcia would set up Ospreay for the hidden blade, and then he would hit the Tiger Driver 91 that Danielson told him to use during the match.
Dude, that move is so crazy. When he hits,
It is crazy.
when I showed it to my wife yesterday, and I was like, "How is he not like fucked up? He just landed like right on it, like right on his neck. I don't understand. Like people are like,
Yeah.
oh, he delivered it like a pro. I'm like, bruh, literally landed on his neck and was folded in half. How is that?
Yeah, I don't.
How is there a proper way to do that?
I was gonna say the same thing. I'm like, what? How is he supposed to do it where it's safe to do it?
I don't know. It's so brutal.
I don't know.
I feel like they like
during
are
the
like, okay, just do it, but I hope I'm okay on this one.
they're like, cross your fingers.
During the match, Ospreay would hit the hidden blade on a ref, or a cameraman, right?
Yeah, cameraman. Yeah. Who like
Hit on the
decided to
ref.
wear some wild boxers because like he like leaned over and then like his shirt came up and I was like, what is he wearing?
But winner was Will Ospreay, who won the championship match back. It will probably, I'm assuming it's going to go back to the International Championship as the name.
They already did that at the end of it. Like he didn't even take the American one.
Sorry, I'm just to jump back real quick. I'm gonna hit up Bro Keller and say, yo,
Yeah.
when he gives him that move, is there honestly a real way to give that safely? Or is Bro just straight up being dropped on his head? Keep it real with I'm gonna be like, keep it real with me.
Well, that's how I used to feel about
Yeah.
Kenny's finisher, the one-winged angel. Jericho said he'll never take it again. He's like, no.
But doesn't Kenny like at least like hold them? Like because Kenny at least has like a hand like underneath there. I feel like, but this is just like straight down.
Be like, you better pray, motherfucker.
Yeah.
All right. The next match, Mercedes Moné versus Britt Baker for the TBS title. I don't know. The crowd was not into this. I don't know if it's because it's coming off of the Will Ospreay.
I think
MJF
it
match.
was, yeah.
The chemistry felt kind of off. It was not on the dream level that maybe it could have been.
I did feel like Britt Baker needed a lot more before this to have the quality of match that everyone was expecting because she was gone for like over a year, right?
Yeah, what, you have one match?
Yeah, she had one match before this.
And
But actually,
that's disappointing. But
yeah, one of my favorite parts is actually one of the entrances, Mercedes, with all the corgis in there. Did you see like the corgis' faces when they pulled up? The corgis all look so excited to see all those people cheering for them.
Dude, she rolled out in a carriage with 3 corgis in it.
They all popped out of like the carriage, like looking like they want to run into the
It was,
crowd.
like perfect like placement.
Dude, can you imagine dogs are so stoked about people? They just walked into a crowd
Yeah.
of 50,000 people. They were like,
They're like, oh my god.
How
like
many
every
pets out there?
to like, dude, 50,000 pets. Let's go, dude.
Because it would crack me up that one corgi like popped up. His mouth was like open and his like tongue's hanging out, and he's just looking into the crowd like, "Oh my god, so many people!"
The scoop slam that Mercedes did to Britt off the top rope, the avalanche slam or whatever. I was like,
Yeah,
god, just
Yeah.
like that first basic move, Tim, that they teach you in wrestling school. They say like she did that to Britt off the top rope early on in the match, I guess.
There was like a sequence. I think it was later on in the match, but it was like they're on the mat, and I think Britt was supposed to like roll her up or something, and like took a second to like figure out where they were, but like it felt like they weren't like in the flow of everything.
So Mercedes retained. Let's talk about Jack
Nunez.
Perry and Darby Allin coffin match, TNT title.
I
Jack Perry.
actually didn't hate this. I'll just get this out of the way real quick.
Yeah.
I didn't hate it as much as I thought I was going to. Of course,
There was
he
one part
had
that
to,
made you laugh. I know. We'll talk about it.
of course, he had to dump the glass and do the real glass, and
Dumped
play
a batch of glass.
which at that point I
Fans chant the
texted,
Crimea River.
and then at that point I texted Andy and I said Jack Perry couldn't lace Punk's boots, and so I'm like watching that, and then but you know what though, when they're chanting Crimea River and he leans back and puts his arms out like Raven and does the head back, there is something there. I just don't think he's figured out
This
how to
character,
harness.
he's getting there with this.
Yeah.
He hasn't figured it out yet, but there's something. I haven't given it.
Mhm.
Look. I'm not like
He yelled,
I'm
"I'm
like,
the fucking man." Did you
Yeah.
hear him do that?
Yeah.
I was like, "You fucker." You.
I was like, I don't know. There's something there. We'll see what happens with him. But yeah, the
Yeah.
only part in this match that was I thought okay, two things. One actually, Darby Allin wearing the thumbtacks on his face. I hated. I
Okay,
was
they were
like-
glued. Yeah, he had thumbtacks glued to his face.
Crazy to start the match that way.
I was like, no, this is a no from you, dog. And
Darby was
then-
pretty dominant. Let me just go on.
Hang on, let me just finish. And then the part that made me laugh, it kind of took me out of it, was at the end where Darby's in the body bag, and then he does the Undertaker
the
sit
Undertaker
up in the casket,
And then
And I
right back
just-
down.
and then I just was like, all right, nah.
So
They did. Sorry, I was going to say they did say that this match was cut like 10 minutes. I think because I think in London or in England there's a curfew of like 10 p.m. for like I think the trains and like transportation. So everyone has to get out by that time. So they had to cut time.
Last call for beans on toast.
So during this match, Jack Perry felt pretty dominant, especially after he tied Darby's legs and arms or hands together. There was a spot where he tossed Darby off the stage through a table, and so Jack Perry would end up retaining, giving Darby Allin his first loss in a coffin match ever.
Yeah, I thought that was surprising.
Afterwards, the Bucks would come out and they would start pouring gasoline onto the coffin when the lights would go black, and Seek and Destroy would start playing. And
Sting.
Him texting me with multiple I's and N's. And
Guys, just real quick, before I forget, I need to put it on record because the idea will leave my head. New T-shirt design. The PW Fan Bar and Grill, and then it's like Dan makes like a cool like design of like the bar grill restaurant, and then there's a little sign out front that says "Last call for beans on toast."
That you have the entire idea because it said last call for beans on
That'll be like on a little sign at the bottom.
All right. Anyway, we'll talk.
All right.
We'll talk.
We'll talk business
so,
later.
Yeah, talk about Sting,
Yeah.
right? I told Tim I thought he's only been gone 6 months since he retired. He shouldn't have come back, but Tim enjoyed it.
I thought it was okay as a one-off.
Yeah,
Like,
I was.
it's a All In was her biggest show.
I was excited, and then you had Tony Schiavone be look Sting. I'm in.
All right, let's get into the main event. Bryan Danielson versus Swerve Strickland.
Excelente.
And also, Andy, you spelled Brian wrong on this on your sheet here.
Yeah, it's actually spelled Daniel Bryan.
Was it Y-A-N?
Yeah.
Oh, I did I-A-N. Whatever. Okay, so Bryan Danielson came out to Final Countdown. Brie Bella and his two children were in the front row. Swerve came
Birdie.
out with, I don't know who the rappers were, but
I don't
both
know.
had a
First
pretty
of
good
all,
entrance.
First of all, I don't know who the two jabronis next to him were, but West Side Gun was one of the dudes, so put some respect on his
Oh,
name.
was it? Sorry. I'm so
Sorry,
used to
West
seeing him on
West
ringside.
Side.
He didn't look the same to me.
West Side, we meant no
Anyway.
we meant no disrespect. He's a true fan,
But
and the man.
Also, about Brian Danielson's family, it's like when they showed Birdie on there, I thought the whole crowd was gonna, like, people were saying before they're gonna boo a 7-year-old because they're like, you're the reason that he's retiring and we don't get to watch him wrestle anymore.
Everyone was. I mean, so the match itself, I thought was excellent.
That was one of my favorite.
A plus for sure.
Yeah.
It went like 26 minutes. Danielson would end up busted open during the match. We'll just say Danielson won. He became the new AEW World Champion. Hangman Page did get involved, but not like I predicted. He did not cost Swerve the match, but he did
like
try
that
to get
part.
involved.
Yeah.
I'm glad it didn't cost Swerve the match.
Yeah, it didn't cost. That was a huge kick out because Hangman came out beating up security trying to get Swerve, and Swerve's looking at him and then turns back and Danielson hits him with the knee, but then Swerve kicks out, and I was like, that was huge.
So you had two Washington boys going at it, put on a hell of a match. Thoughts on it?
That was
great moment at the end with his family in there with him.
Oh yeah. That was all of the emotions, I feel like.
If this is his last match, it was a really good send-off.
Yeah. One of my... There's two, actually, moments during this match, actually, were my favorite. One was... I don't know if everyone likes it, but, the no-sell from Swerve from the knee, because it felt kind of like a... People said, it's like a final boss moment where, you hit him as much as you can, but then he, doesn't go down at all. Right. And then you have to keep going, almost.
Swerve's dude.
I thought that part was cool.
Yeah, he brushed it off. But then the other part that I loved is when Swerve's kicking him in the chest and Danielson's looking at his family and just saying I love you guys or whatever, during it, and then he smacks Swerve. I was like, oh,
I don't even
start
think
feeling
Swerve
it.
Was on the card last year, dude, and now he's in the main event. I mean,
I know. And to credit Swerve, Danielson did say that Swerve carried basically the entire storyline leading up to it as well, and also I think a lot of the match too.
I will say, if you haven't seen what Danielson said during the press conference, it's really good. Even Renee was like, I think that was the first press conference I might have cried at.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's super good. It makes his future up in the air, though. I think I know where it's leaning. We'll talk about
Well, they did say he's going to address it on Wednesday.
Yeah. So, Tim, your thoughts on the match? You watched it last night.
I mean, it was incredible. Again, the family aspect, honestly, at some points made me a little uncomfortable. I was having flashbacks. I was having obviously not as bad. Okay, so I don't want to make it seem like it's on the same level, but I was having some flashbacks to the Mick Foley's kids in the front row when the Rock's beating the shit out of him with a steel chair.
Brian told his daughter it's ketchup because during the press conference he said, "Yeah, when I got covered in ketchup, blah blah blah."
Yeah,
Birdie was sitting on his lap.
Yeah,
and so he had told her before that it was ketchup.
He did also say he was Birdie was crying at one point and he looked over and she was crying. And then his son was laughing. His son's laughing and bleeding from the face. And all
that. But yeah, I mean, overall, great.
But
great
you know what? They'll never forget. Hopefully his son remembers because he's so little. But I mean, Birdie will never forget an entire 50,000 people arena all cheering for her dad. That's so cool, and she knows it was for him.
Yeah.
He said it's his favorite moment in his career, because it's I think the only time
all of his family
wrestle, in person.
Yeah, and he
and also
and definitely props to Swerve, man. 'Cause Swerve's fucking awesome.
Yeah, and also how
champ. I'm sure he feuds with Adam Page after this again.
Oh yeah, and also I was just gonna say the final countdown song, the entrance, the whole stadium singing that song was crazy.
Yeah, his jacket was cool too, with the dragon scales and all that.
Yeah.
So yeah, A plus pay per view. I wasn't sure how I felt going into it, but like
Well,
I remember I
you
just
know,
wasn't that hyped on it. I was like,
I know, me too. You know, that's the thing that AEW does, and that's why I was like thinking about it. I was
every
like,
time their pay-per-views are usually pretty
yeah,
good.
I was thinking about it too. I was like, you know, AEW can always survive because they do these amazing pay-per-views, but their weekly shows suck. And so their pay-per-views like reset everything because like now I'm like, oh, let's see what they do Wednesday to see if it's going to happen. But I don't know that they never
Like the time Swerve won the title, and then they didn't open up with Swerve
yeah,
addressing the
they don't capitalize on it.
AEW.
Yeah,
Yeah.
so they have all these like amazing pay-per-views, and I'm like, cool, let's reset this, weekly show stuff, but it always never goes well.
But that's it, guys. That was episode 143.
I agree, though, Jeremy. I mean, it's like they have an opportunity now to capitalize. It's like, okay, you
Yeah.
had a good show.
Another one.
Please, just make Dynamite good. It's not that hard.
Yeah.
I mean, maybe look. I'm like, it's not that hard. It probably is that hard.
Yeah,
Obviously. It's probably very hard. But like, as a fan, I'm like, please, just do something. Like, just do something. Classic.
Every time I'm like, I'm over AEW. Then they pull out a pay-per-view like this.
Yeah, that's what I mean. Like they can always like survive because they'll have these amazing pay-per-views, and I'm like, all right, let's see what they got now.
All right, so I have a classic show of the week. This classic show of the week is full of ups and downs. It's funny. It's good. It's a weird time period in wrestling. Andy, you might have just been checking out at this point, like being like maybe every now and then seeing what was going on. But this is I just brought it up because I thought it was interesting. Okay, so first of all, there's a Cruiserweight Open elimination match with Jimmy Wang Yang, Gregory. Oh, so hang on. Let me let me tell you what it is first. That would help. So the classic show.
Yeah, what show is it?
Yeah, right. The classic show of the week is No Way Out 2007. So weird time period in wrestling. So there's a Cruiserweight Open elimination match, which is Daivari, Scotty 2 Hottie, Funaki, Shannon Moore, Gregory Helms, Jamie Noble, Jimmy Wang Yang, and Chavo Guerrero. So a bunch of familiar names in there, but the actual matches on the card are Rob Van Dam against Shelton Benjamin. So I'd like to go back and watch that, actually. Sounds like a good match. The second one is
for sure.
A couple bangers, a couple bangers for sure. Bangos.
Bangos.
It's my new speech impediment. So the next match is a 6-man tag, Chris Benoit and the Hardys. And then for some reason it has to put Matt and Jeff in parentheses. It's like, clearly, fucking who else would it be? So
in case you're confused with the other Hardys.
Yeah. So Chris Benoit and the Hardys against Montel. Why am I saying his full name? So Chris Benoit and the Hardys versus MVP and Eminem, Joey Mercury, and Johnny
Montel.
I was about to say his full name. The next match is Cruiserweight Open for the WWE Championship. And that is actually the one that I had listed at the beginning there. For some reason, I thought that opened the show. But the one where I just listed all those Cruiserweights at the beginning is actually the next match. Number 4, and I like how they didn't put Hornswoggle. This is how they listed them. Finley and Little Bastard against the Boogeyman.
Little Bastard. That's so much better, I guess.
King Booker against Kane. So Booker T against Kane. Brian Kendrick and Paul London against Deuce and Domino. This is kind of a cool down match. What is Andy laughing at?
I just looked at
Continue.
What's so funny?
It's a text. It's a text I sent to the group chat.
Oh, okay. Mr. Kennedy against Bobby Lashley. Ashley Massaro, rest her soul, against Jillian Hall, Kelly Kelly, and Brooke Adams. And the main event is a tag match, and it's star-studded. You have John Cena and Shawn Michaels tagging up against Batista and The Undertaker. Very strange.
Wow.
Very weird time in wrestling. But yeah, that was episode 143. Is that correct? 43.
That's correct.
143. It's the first episode of our 4th year.
Yeah, 143,
right.
and yeah, episode 1 of year 4. So thank you guys so much for 4 years of support. Fucking crazy. Can't believe it's been that long. Jeremy, you weren't here when I first got on here, but once again, we just want to reach our love out to Dan, who's getting heart surgery, who makes all of our merch, and in his downtime, he said he wants to make some new stuff for us. So be on the lookout for some new stuff for year 4. Thank you all again, and we will catch you all next week.